What happens to the Lakers now that they're in the playoffs? I've been dying to hear what the media was going to say in regard to these Lakers playing playoff basketball. I haven't heard a single analyst or pundit bring this point up. What do the Lakers do if a team decides to play at a high tempo to tire them out? I've been watching sports TV for the past couple weeks, and I've been dumbfounded with the narrative that if they get LeBron, AD, and others back, there is no team out there that would want to meet LeBron and the Lakers in the first round. I gather they mean that LeBron and the Lakers being a first-round matchup for any team is far tougher than the normal 8th seed or play-in opponent. Is that true, though? This situation reminds me of when I played competitive sports. I've been in tournaments and playoffs where I faced a team that was injured or missing key players that day. In essence, they were a shell of the team they could be if they were at full strength. For example, if we play a team where their normal goalie isn't playing, we then spend the entire first half constantly attacking and shooting our hardest at the goalie's head. Eventually, the goalie starts flinching and we start tapping in goals. The reason being is to break them where they are most vulnerable, because we anticipate that their backup goalie won't be ready to handle that much adversity and crumble under the pressure. That brings me back to the Lakers. Why is the media peddling this narrative when they all know there is a difference between regular season basketball and playoff basketball? The Lakers may not be able to keep up with the intensity of playoff basketball, let alone a team determined to break them to win a series. It seems illogical to me to think that an NBA coach facing an injury-prone old Lakers roster wouldn't go for the jugular despite them getting their players back going into the playoffs. Why would they give the Lakers a chance to beat them by playing them at their pace? Why wouldn't the Suns decide to run a high-tempo game plan where they try to keep the Lakers running up and down the court non-stop to burn their legs and lungs? What would happen to the Lakers if that were the game plan the Suns were implementing? I think the Lakers play their best until they are tired and start subbing in bench players for their starters. What do the Suns do when they sub out AD and LeBron? I think they slow down the tempo and start pouring in buckets on the second string and build a huge lead. What happens if the Lakers give up a huge lead and they start playing in desperation mode? The probability that the Lakers lose the game skyrockets, as well as the likelihood of injury increases for all players. Best case scenario, I think the Lakers get run up and down the court for 4 to 6 games. LeBron and AD have spectacular games, avoid injury, but it's still not enough to win more than 2 games and head into the offseason highly motivated. Worst case scenario, I think AD and LeBron suffer a serious injury, or at the very least aggravate an existing injury. After that, the Lakers are done, and the season is over with potential career-altering injuries looming over their franchise players in the offseason. I think that LeBron wanting to win at all costs and the pressure the Lakers are in would most likely push them towards the worst-case scenario and lose the series. I believe that the Suns would have the Lakers playing desperate, and in that state, most players go all out and put their body on the line like they would normally to pull off the miracle. Playing this way increases the probability that they will open themselves up to a play that will lead to an injury. I think that in this situation, AD will most likely get injured, and LeBron is likely to as well. People might think, but there have been many times in sports history where injured teams with backups pull off the miracle, but there are also just as many, if not more, where we see a team fall apart or the star player ends up with a career-altering injury trying to pull the miracle off. I don't want to see LeBron miss the opportunity to earn a spot in the GOAT debate because of a career-ending injury trying to will these Lakers into a first-round exit or a scoring title. I also don't want him to have the easy excuse of, if I didn't break my leg in 2022, then I would have taken Kareem's record or done more in my career to surpass Jordan. So with that being said, I hope the Lakers start the process of identifying why AD is getting injured so often, then implement a solution to reduce the amount of injuries he suffers, as well as start rehab and sports therapy to get their core players to 1,000% for next year. Then look to build a younger team full of shooters around LeBron. I'll leave you guys there. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.